Good afternoon, everyone. It's 3/29/19. I wanted to come on here today and talk about a video that I saw about a new UN in Jerusalem. And the spokesperson for this video that was interviewed was the Professor H. Weiss over in Israel. And they were discussing a new UN building that was going to be built in Jerusalem consisting of only 70 nations. And he was showing a Nikki Haley coin and temple tax coin that they had made. And she's putting together this thing about the new UN in Jerusalem, and she's working with Trump apparently. And he said that they did a temple tax coin of her, and on the coin it shows the original UN building, and then it shows the new UN building, and then it has her on there in the middle of the thing, and he says she is like a king. And what they were doing during Passover, 8 times they will sacrifice the lamb on the 10th of Nisan. Then they will succeed to hold the Temple Mount. So that's what all of these sacrifices they're making. Every Nisan, 10th of Nisan, around Passover. This thing is to, I guess, bring in the appearance of the Messiah. That's what it was all about. And also then they would succeed in holding the Temple Mount. And then he had mentioned after the flood, there was scattered in the world 70 nations. And that's why they have the 70 nations in this new UN that's going to be over in Jerusalem, because that's how he said it was after the flood. And then he also mentioned that Trump was not the Messiah. He's a type of Cyrus. He's playing the role of Cyrus in this, but he's not a Messiah. And when the person that was doing the interview asked how they would know who the Messiah was, what the person would do, and so on and so forth, that would identify that person to them as the Messiah. And his answer was in the book of Isaiah and Micah, it describes this Messiah, which we know in Isaiah and everything, it describes our Messiah in Micah. But he said it describes their Messiah as chief of judges. He will say hard things to cure people's hearts. And he's just going to act a certain way. And the description of how he's going to act are in those 2 books, Isaiah and Micah. Then I wanted to mention the Israel strike in Aleppo. There's Turkish troops and Russian troops in the area that they hit, which was in northeast Syria. And really they were going after Iranian targets, hitting Iranian targets in that country. And for them to go that far north, because like I say, that's in the northeast part of the country if you look at it on the map. And for them to fly in there and go that far, without any kind of seemingly resistance, strong enough resistance, it was like maybe they have the Russian troops' blessings or something to come in there and do it. I don't really know what's going on. All that situation over there is confusing, but I think that all of this stuff is leading up to a war, and I believe it's a war by design, because I have a feeling that, and many people have suggested it, and I think I mentioned it in the previous video, that if they were to get into some war with Iran, Syria, maybe several countries involved around there, and missiles started flying back and forth, that a stray missile could just happen to accidentally go up there and hit the Dome of the Rock Mosque. And I really believe that that's the site of where they want to build the third temple, right there where the mosque is right now, rather than next to it. And maybe, triggering this war and getting all this stuff up is to clear the land there so that they can build the third temple. Of course, I don't know 100% sure. This is just a guess on my part, but it's certainly something's got to do it. Some people have said it could be an earthquake. It could be a natural thing that occurs or something to make it happen. But the point of it is, with this peace plan and everything that's coming up, part of that peace plan is that Israel's going to control the Temple Mount, and also that everybody that agrees to the peace plan is going to put their blessing and agree that Israel can build the third temple without any kind of resistance. And then lastly, I wanted to mention, talk about Babylon's fall beginning. We've talked about this before, and I had quite a few videos last year, and I think a lot of the videos that I did about judgments, about unprecedented wild weather and stuff coming back last year, a lot of things I did are related to every bit of it related to 2019, including that dream about the national emergency being declared. And I think I did a video where I had a dream on a volcanic eruption or something somewhere in the U.S. I think all of this is related to 2019 and the things that are coming. And I think as we get into spring, in the beginning of spring and everything, and into tornado season and everything, we're going to have a wild year this year. And the thing I wanted to report on was that, they have National Weather Service has already reported and warned about record flooding forecasted all the way through the month of May. And Nebraska, millions of dead calves have already happened. Tons of grains were lost in Iowa as storage containers collapsed over there recently. And the states already affected so far include Iowa, Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, South Dakota, Minnesota, and Nebraska. And so far, because of all of the flooding that's already occurred, there's been $3 billion in damage. And, the grain storage failures and those grain storage things collapsing, and the fact that, like it was mentioned in the video, there may be food shortages this year later on due to the stuff that's occurring right now, because there's a lot of areas of farmland that, they should be planting right now and getting the things started. But those things, the farmlands are all underwater. And there's a pretty big area in multiple states that are underwater. And related to this thing, weather from last year and what's happened so far this year, the Air Force needs $5 billion to fix weather damage bases. So that's $3 billion and $5 billion. We're already up to $8 billion in damages, everyone. Because the Babylon's fall is beginning right now in many different ways. Now, I believe in the book of Revelations, I believe the city of Babylon itself that's described there in the Revelation 18, I believe that's the city. It's referring to a city, and I believe that city is New York City as far as Revelation 18 goes in that Babylon. But a type of Babylon, or this country being a type of Babylon, or repeating a lot of the behaviors of ancient Babylon, so it puts it into a Babylon-like country, is what I believe that we're dealing with. And it just goes to show that the fall is already beginning in many ways. And a lot of the stuff, like I said, that I was warning about in 2018, those were dreams and visions and warnings here about what was coming in 2019. And there's going to be a lot of prophecy coming to pass here in April and May anyway. And we got the peace plan coming in and the appearance of this Messiah. And I believe the beginning of the construction of the third temple, but I also believe that somewhere in here is going to be a war. And the Lord gave me for this video, as far as the scriptures go, Zephaniah CHAP.1, 14 through 18. There's probably a lot of other scriptures in the Bible that would fit for this thing. But beginning at verse 14, the great day of the Lord is near. It is near, and hasteth greatly, even in the voice of the day of the Lord. The mighty men shall cry there bitterly. That day is the day of wrath, the day of trouble and distress, the day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, a day of a trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers. And I will bring distress upon men, and they will walk like blind men, because they have sinned against the Lord, and their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as the dung. Neither shall silver nor gold be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath, but the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy. For he shall make even a speedy riddance of all of them that dwell in the land. And so judgment's coming, brothers and sisters. Time's running out. Time to win souls and do anything for the Lord is rapidly coming to an end, I believe. And we may be departing soon. But in the time that we have left, let's do the best we can to serve the Lord, make sure we get the messages out here, and do everything that he asks us to do in the meantime. Even here where I'm at, there's a couple of days ago it was in the 60s, and then last night it was back in the 30s, and tomorrow and Sunday it's going to be in the 30s again, and so the weather is going between the warmer spring-like weather, then back to the winter cold weather, and there's a lot of people getting sick, and there's a person I was working with at work, and he was telling me that a lot of people in his family are sick, and one, his brother's kid is in the hospital with pneumonia, a littler kid with pneumonia, and there's quite a few people out sick and hospitalized and stuff because of this crazy, weather going from hot to cold. So that's what we're dealing with here. So it's still winter coat weather here, even though it was in the 60s about 2 days ago. But, I'm sure in another week or two, the weather will break. So that concludes today's message. We're heading into some pretty wild times. I think this is going to be the most prophetic year to date, 2019 will be. And we'll just be seeing things left and right here. And like he told us, make sure we watch and be alert and continue to see the signs, because I don't think it's much longer until he's going to be coming back. And so we need to be, in prayer, in the Word, and trying to get as close to him right now as we possibly can get. God bless each and every one of you in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. And I'll see you again later. Thank you.